Hello, welcome to the Have You Met You podcast. I'm your host, Sasha Pearl, the energy architect, and I guide soul led women in building their authentic six-figure businesses by aligning their identity, purpose, and message using my highly potent method. Let's get into it. Okay, so today we are going to go over our authority. So with human design, especially when we are running our businesses and trying to align our businesses to our unique energetics, there are three components that are incredibly important. If you take nothing else away, this is what you want to take away: your energy type, your authority, and strategy. Your energy, your strategy, and your authority. Okay. And so we're really going to we really got into the energy types and strategy in the first few pods. So head back there if you haven't listened to your energy type yet. And today we're really just going to dive deep into your authority. So our authority in human design is where we make our most authentic decisions from. So the more that we can truly honor our decision making process, that is where the true alignment will come. And that is where the authenticity lives. Because the more that we can say yes to our yeses and stay away from our no's, the more that we are going to be in alignment with what we're here to truly do, be, and create in the world. And again, I just want to remind everyone that energetics is so important in business because the more aligned, the more authentic that we are, and more that we love what we do, that's where we're really going to be activating our highest points of creativity, of frequency in the world. And so our products, our services are just going to be so much higher vibrationally than other things out there. And that is where true magnetism lives, is when you are really honoring your uniqueness, your energy. And human design is just a tool to help us understand and remember our path back to who we are. Let's get into it a little bit deeper. I'm going to start off with what human design is. I think I'm just going to do that for the foundational pieces of human design so you guys really understand what human design is. So, human design is a science of our aura. We hold a frequency at 7 feet in all directions of us, and we're in constant relationship to everything, right? Because everything is energy, and that is just science. And so when we're thinking about how we're in relationship not only to ourselves, which this is where it all begins, is the relationship with ourselves. That also, this relationship with ourselves also informs every other decision that we make, if you think about it, right? If it all starts with our why, that means that it all starts with our own identity and how we love and know ourselves to be. And that is where human design really shows us our truest form, our purest form of energetics in the world. The Kabbalah, the I Ching, astrology, and the chakra system to show you this tangible graph of where your unique energetics live in your aura, right? And so when we can understand how we are meant to show up in this world, that is how we can actually access all of our beautiful gifts that were given to us at birth. I am me, you are you, and we all have our own frequency that we hold, and we can only keep amplifying it in the world the more that we can understand ourselves and have more compassion for who we are and understanding for people who are not designed like us. And a great example, I just want to start off with this story, is I was raised by a manifesting generator mother. And if you don't know the energy types well, manifesting generators are the most independent, the fast paced, super energized, go, 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 go. And I'm a projector. I have a twin. And we are two projectors living with a manifesting generator mom. So imagine how we grew up in a way where we are constantly met with conditioning of how we're supposed to be in the world, how we're supposed to move, and how quickly we need to do things, right? And that is so deeply conditioned still into how I operate in my own business. And that is something that I'm really working on. It's how can I rest more? How can I take a nap? And today I was just so restless, and I was oh my God, just stop forcing yourself to go do something and just go outside. You are vibrating at your frequency because you've been in front of technology all morning and you have not created space for you to just be in the present moment with yourself, with your own thoughts, right? So just know the more that we can have compassion for energy types that are not like us, the more that we can actually communicate on their level, the more resonance that we'll have with one another, And the more that we will be deeply seen and communicating our own unique needs in the world. So, coming back to human design, the science of our aura, let's move into authority, the best way that we can make decisions. So we have multiple authorities here. Let's start. It's 444. Yay. Let's start with the emotional. We'll do from bottom up in the authority levels. Let's start with the emotional authority. So emotional authorities, the biggest thing that you need to know is that your truth is not in the moment. You need to give yourself space. You need to give yourself time to really feel into, are you really excited about the thing, or are you just in a high, right? And then, or are you, if you can come back and just give your time space, like the best thing you can be like, oh, let me get back to you and see if I can make it happen on my calendar, whatever. I need to go check my calendar. Let me get back to you and I'll let you know if I want to go do this thing with you. Because what happens is that you might be in a high and you're just so excited and you say yes. And then a week later, when you had committed to these plans, you're like, absolutely not, right? So just making sure that you are going to be still excited about it. When you wake up in the morning, just sleep on it. The best thing that you can do is sleep on it. Your truth is not in the now. Go and sleep on the decision. And if you can create as much space between the decision, the time of the decision that you need to make of the event, sleeping on it to be completely in your clarity and neutrality, that is where you're going to make the best decision for you. And here's the thing. When you say yes to something you do not want to do, look into your not self, right? And this depends on what energy type that you are. So this can be a generator, manifesting generator, or projector or manifester, right? Majority of the world is based on an emotional high. So what's really interesting too about the emotional wave, which I think I'm going to dive deeper into like another episode, but I could do a full episode on this actually. So we're just going to there's different types of emotional waves. So when you have a defined emotional center, it's usually a signature of moodiness. And I know a lot of people are like, I don't like to hear that. And that's really fine. That's okay. But what it's really just saying is that you exist in really high highs and really low lows. And we have 4 different types of waves that you can have. And they can be very volatile as far as like super high and then super low, or they could just be a kind of a gradual high with a little low, right? And then it starts over on a cycle. So we'll dive deeper into like what channels those are and what waves that you have later on. But just know that your truth is not going to be in the moment. Okay. Your clarity is going to come when you're in a neutral space and you've had time to decide. Okay. Now, let's move into the sacral authorities. So this can be the generators or the manifesting generators, okay? And sacral authorities, I just really feel are I have like the best, the most fun with it, right? Like you literally get to allow your body to decide what is lighting you up and you just get to go for it. You just get to respond to life in a way that you're like, oh, I want to go do that. Oh, I want to go do that. And like you have this gut reaction to things, right? And so when we're coming to this like gut reaction, you're going to do really well with yes or no or either or options for the sacral defined, okay? And so if you know that your partner or you have sacral definition, then take yourself through a questioning. So if I'm like, do you want tacos? And you're like, that's a no. If I was like, do you want pizza? And you're like, that's a yes, right? Think about how you are activating your throat and the guttural noises and instincts that you have immediately. It's so phenomenal to see people with sacral authority when I'm asking them questions about their businesses and you can see them light up or like contract, right? And so really paying attention to your body in these moments. But you are going to know, you're going to have a gut instinct what is correct for you and what is not correct for you, and follow that. And just experiment with this, because I'm not saying this is black and white and so dogmatic. It's just not that. No, no. Experiment. This is the great experiment, right? So figure out what feels really, really good for you. And you're going to know if you don't trust your gut and you go and you feel frustrated by something, then you made it's an incorrect decision, right? And so just going back and trying again. Okay, I'm following, like it doesn't make sense, but this is what I feel excited about when you go after it. And see how it really lights you up and fulfills you in your day, right? Because sacral authority is really meant to be living in a very deeply satisfied state at all times, right? Obviously that's a choice and obviously life happens, but the more that we can keep that sacral really juicy and bright and doing the things that you actually want to be doing, that is where the alignment, the magnetism lives, because you guys have those very open and all enveloping auras. Okay. Moving into the spleen, where we make decisions from our intuition, they're called splenic authority. Mostly projectors and manifestors can have this. And splenic authority is being able, like, you're going to know instantly if you want to do something or not. Hello, that's incredible. They have to wait a moment to really decide if, like, what is correct for them or not, right? Through neutrality. The splenic knows in the moment, as soon as it happens, what they want, what they need, and what to decide moving forward. As soon as you start to override a knowing with your mind, that is where you remove your authenticity from the decision. And that's where it's going to put you potentially into bitterness or anger. Okay. And so just being aware that you have this beautiful gift of knowing in the moment. So trusting that soft whisper, like, it's not going to be like blatantly obvious, right? But that soft whisper and that soft knowing is what's really going to truly guide you onto your journey of making the correct decisions for you. Okay. And so again, with splenic authorities, I think that we get really, there's a lot of questions that are like, how do I know if it's my intuition or if it's my conditioning? And it's like, you're going to know, because the intuition is going to be soft. It's going to be loving, and it's going to be very much something you have to figure out your own nuance around. Where the conditioned state coming from fear, ego, doubt, shame, wherever, it's going to be loud, it's going to be mean, and it's going to be aggressive, right? So if you can just know in the moment, if you can really create awareness and presence for you in every moment, if you could just hold that, you're going to get better at understanding your intuitive processing. And then as soon as you question, oh, is that my intuition? You're in your head, right? So you're out of your authenticity in making decisions. Okay, I trust that makes sense. Okay, now we're going to move into the G center authority. So this is the self-projected. So this is for projectors who have a defined G to the throat center. They usually have an ajna defined too, depending. So with self-projected, this is my authority, and I'm still like, is this what I don't know. It's just such a weird, this is my authority, and I'm like, am I doing this right? But it is very true that with people with self-projected authority, they just need a trusted confidant to speak it out with. This authority is really about speaking from your truth, right? Because it's your G center connected to your throat. So your soul will tell you through your voice what is correct for you and what is not correct for you, okay? And you're going to hear it in a tonality. So for example, I'm like, I don't really want to go do that. Or I'm like, no, I don't. That's a no. Like, if you're self-projected and you're like being waffly about something, or you're like whiny, like there's like a whininess to my voice when I like don't want to do something. Or if you do want to do something and you're like, okay, I'm so excited, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, yeah, I want to do that. Oh my God, yeah. That is the yes to the decision that you need to make, right? As soon as I feel there's like a heaviness that comes over my throat when I do not want to do something, and I can tell when I'm trying to force something because it might be someone that I love and I don't want to do it, you know? And so actually one example, I was at my Wild, Well and Wealthy event, and my co-founder Monte asked if I wanted sparkles in my hair, and the sparkle lady is there sparkling people's hair. And I was like, and I had someone, a community person, be like, doesn't sound like you want to do that. And I was like, oh my God, thank God you reminded me. I don't know what I was doing. So I just found it really interesting. I was like, oh wow, I'm glad someone else can like just reflect that back to me in that specific moment, because it was so fucking clear. I was like, I actually don't want to do this. So I don't even know why I'm like waffling or like being like, maybe, it's like, I know I don't want to. Also, a thing about self-projected authority, we actually just need to talk it out. So think about like this, like knotted necklaces, right? Or like a very like tangled thing of string. And just envision this tangled like yarn of string or something of string, right? And then the more that you actually talk out what you're trying to decide about, think about that string just unraveling in a straight string, and you're just organizing the thoughts, right? So it's very jumbled if you don't know. keep talking, keep talking, keep talking it out, because then the tonality, the information is going to come because your soul is literally going to lead you there. You just need to listen to yourself and the tonalities in which you speak. And if you have a partner who is able to reflect that back to you, like that community partner who reflected that back to me, is so powerful, especially when you're feeling a little bit disoriented and confused. Okay. And also with a self projected, we're usually, if we are seeking outside advice, external advice, it's probably not going to land for us. We kind of just need to talk it out and then not like get any input back, right? It's like the sounding board. And secondly, the other part to this is what we are giving guidance to, since we're a projector, to another person. It's usually something that we also need to hear for ourselves. So taking that into consideration when you are speaking, because your words are spells. I promise you. And honestly, I believe that they're the golden tickets to our success. Now we're going to move into mental authority. And this is where you actually have two minds as a mental authority. This is where everything is defined above your throat center, so your ajna and crown. And this makes you a really rare kind of projector. But essentially, you have your thinking mind and you have your sensing mind. And so your thinking mind is always going to want to back up all the decisions by your facts, details, data, etc. And the sensing mind, which is where the truth really lives in your authenticity, is going to be just a knowing that you may not be able to explain and go in that direction, right? So actually, if you are able to back up this knowing, this intuitive knowing with any facts or logic, then it's probably not the truest decision that you can make. Okay. And so this is a pretty interesting authority, but highly recommend trying on how can you get to a layer deeper of a knowing that doesn't even have logical sense to it. And let me know where you land with that. Then we have ego authority. And so projectors or manifestors can have this authority. And ego authority is what the heart wants. It's like when you are like, I want this, go after it. Let your ego lead, your intuitive ego lead your wants and desires in the world. How cool is that? If you want it, it's meant for you. Let yourself desire the fuck out of it. Okay. And then the last one we're going to get to are the reflectors, lunar authority. So really using the moon to help you understand your decision-making capability. So when you have lunar authority, they say wait a lunar cycle so you really know if the decision is correct for you or not. And also for lunar authority people, get a moon journal and really pay attention to where the moon phases are and like your clarity or lack of clarity in the decisions. Like where is your mood landing? Depending on what the moon phase is. And so there might be a phase where you're like, no, I feel the most clear during this phase of the moon cycle. And this is what you want to do. Okay. So the more that you can see your own patterns through the moon, then you can really start trusting which cycles you feel the most clear in and you make the best decisions. Because if you're lunar authority too, you're meant to be surprised by life. When you're making decisions, which ones are causing the most surprise in your life, and keep following that moon phase because that's going to be really helpful for you. Okay. And so that wraps up all of our authorities and our decision making. And the more that we can really lean into our authority, that is how we access our signature self, which is our purest form of authenticity and magnetism. Anytime we are in our not self, which is going to be our conditioned sense from society, fears, doubts, and shoulds, that is when we're not going to be making the most aligned decisions for ourselves. And that's going to wrap up our authority discussion today. That was so fun. I love doing this so much. And I just want to let everyone know that I am launching a new offer called Signature State of Business Alignment Accelerator. So my Big Biz Energy is my 3-month program. And then this is going to be the program that you're like, I feel like I am so close to something and I don't necessarily have the 3 months to get this into action. The accelerator program is going to give you a 60-minute human design reading, a 90-minute roadmap session to really align all your entire business, all of your systems, your structures to your signature self, depending on what your human design is. And then we'll have a 60-minute integration call to see what you've implemented and how you feel in your business. It is such an epic offering, and I'm so excited to be sharing this with you all. So if you are interested, please feel free to email me, sasha@designedtobehuman.com, or DM me on Instagram at @itssashapearl, and I'd love to support you and guide you wherever you are on your journey. Okay, that's it for this one. Bye.